and welcome to another video. My name is Em, and today we're going to be studying some fruits and one vegetable, I believe. And I'm going to be doing it in my newfound obsession, oil paints. I'm just getting my stuff ready, getting my little easel out, my piece of gessoed canvas that I just taped to this board, and my colors. I know that some people like to use a limited color palette when it comes to oils, and I completely understand why you would want to do something like that. I myself am having a problem limiting. And I know it could be useful. Like I'm seeing why people do that with oils, but because we have so many different colors going on today because of the different fruits and vegetable, that it's going to be hard to do a limited color palette kind of thing. It's just sort of a study, just having fun. And we're going to start off with this peach. I thought this is going to be a challenge, but I thought it maybe was going to be like kind of easy. I was hoping. But I was like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to do peach because of how they're fuzzy. And I just thought that would be an interesting texture to try and work on with the oil paints. So I started out, and I love how it turned out, by the way. But I think what I am finding that I really need to work on with the oils is just absolutely let it go and stop messing with it. I personally really like the look of like loose, kind of blendy sort of paintings with oil. That's what really catches my eye. And so that's what I want to make. And I always end up just getting too caught up with all of the details and looking at it too much, thinking about it too much, taking way too much time. I think what I might do next time is just give myself a limited time, like maybe half an hour for each little subject. When I'm doing something like this where they're this size and there's 4 on the page, maybe it would be better to limit my time so that I am not able to take too long on little items within the image, and I just have to pick and choose quickly what I'm going to work on. And I think that would be a good way to go, because I'm not getting when I like the result, even though I like it, it's really not what I'm going for. So I need to fix that. But I think it was still a good lesson. I mixed up this like really bright magenta pinky kind of color for the peach because I went back and I was like, it's looking too orange to me. It was giving too much mandarin orange. That's what I was feeling like. So I just wanted to get a bit more of a pinky color to mix in there with some yellow so that it was giving more of a peachy kind of vibe. And I felt like that fixed it. Even though I went back and forth like so much on this peach, I kind of learned my lesson. And I was able to keep it a lot looser for the next subject that I do in a minute. But for the last one, I did not learn my lesson and I just went back and forth. So there was a lot of editing involved in this video because I basically redid the whole peach because I just wasn't really happy with it. And that just comes from looking at it too much. Just stop. It's just a study. And honestly, I felt like it looked really good at this point, and I should have just stopped here because it doesn't look too much different from when I change it. But I made some minor adjustments. I just wanted to have a little bit more contrast, just, some finishing touches. But I'm saying I could have left it. For a study, we got to get moving. And sometimes it hurts more than it helps to, go back and forth like that, and it becomes frustrating, and it's like it doesn't make a difference. It looks kind of the same after, I don't know. It's like learning oil painting is tricky, and I'm just figuring it out, but I'm having so much fun doing it, and it's definitely the thing for me. I really, really, really like it. I love the blending. I love how the colors look. I love just all the concepts of it, the whole idea. There's just a lot to learn. So it's going to be hard for me to get used to, but I'm just living for the ride. It's about the journey, not the destination. But it is kind of about the destination. I do really like how the reflected light ended up looking on the peach. And I felt like I was seeing a little bit of yellow in the background. So I wanted to bring that in as well because I felt like it was kind of reflecting off of the peach or whatever. So I just wanted to bring that in, do some blendy stuff on the edges, and add this little bit of like ice blue. I wasn't sure, but I think I had let it dry for a day or so because I was really able to pick that off really easily and just blend it out. And so by all of the end, this is where I was like, okay, now I'm happy with it. I was just going a little too crazy with the contrast. Also, I made a background for each one of these, and I felt that now I'm like, okay, maybe I could have calmed down a bit with the backgrounds, but I also just wanted to study the background aspect of them as well, of the little still lifes. And so that was part of it. Again, it's just a study. I'm not making like a full painting. I just wanted to draw some fruit and vegetables, some of my most favorite things to draw. I say that all the time about everything, but I do really enjoy doing like still life stuff like this. And this apple is my favorite thing on the page. I had so much fun doing it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep this loose. It did not take me a long time to do. Not that time matters, but it does when you're trying to do something like this. And the purpose is to keep it loose. If you take too long, you're looking at stuff for too long. You're looking at too many details. Just look at what's important and get rid of what's not so that you can control what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want it to look super realistic. I want it to look painterly. So I felt like I was just like really having a good time. And I loved the angle that it was at and all the shadows and doing those little paint strokes, the colors. That's kind of my favorite colors to work with. I don't know why, but doing like green items, that works for me. My eyes see that really well. Doing stuff with red in it, I always get mixed up. We know this about me. So yeah, basically when I was doing this apple, I was like, somebody's going to call the Met. Sorry. Okay, so I was doing I was using this like tiny brush that I got. And the other thing I think I should focus on doing, it's okay because this is working pretty small. I want to try and use just bigger brushes. I don't know what it is, but I've been on a kick of like really not wanting to use small tools anymore. I think it's beneficial, again, to look at the bigger picture, use a bigger brush. I really like using, when I'm drawing, to use my blending stump rather than a pencil. And I like to use big strokes to get the idea across quickly out of my head so that I can like, it's just easier for me to look at things like that. And I've been doing another 100 heads, working on another 100 heads video. And I kind of came up with a new method for that as well. And I find that that just has been working for me so well, especially to simplify complicated objects. I'm kind of trying to just use bigger tools. I'm finding that that works. I don't know if that's like a known thing that other people, that's just like obvious. And I should have been doing it the whole time, but it's very helpful. And yeah, so I did use a tinier brush, long story short, with some of the parts of the apple, but for the most part, I tried to use just my, I don't know, size 6 or size 4 brush, but I kind of use sort of these 4 different brushes. One's small and the other 2 are the same size. And then I have 2 a little bit bigger ones. And the small one comes in handy for stuff like this though. And again, like it's not a super big painting, so you do kind of need a little bit of a smaller one. But the reason why I have a couple of the same size brushes is so that I can have one for dark colors, one for lighter colors. And that way I'm not muddying the colors up too much. It is really worth it. And these brushes are Princeton. I started using Princeton randomly one day because it was for sale at my art store and I just really liked it. And so I've just always bought that kind. Like they always seem to be there. They always seem to be good. So then I had to scrape off the palette and clean it up a little bit because I was going to be going completely different colors. Guess what we're doing? A friggin' tomato again. God damn it. I always do them. They really are super challenging for me to do, but I have drawn this. I've done this tomato in pastel. I think I've done it in gouache. It doesn't really matter like this exact tomato, but I've done a tomato so many times just because I find them interesting. I like looking at them. I like eating them too, but I do find them really challenging. So I like to give it a shot, especially when trying something new and when I'm feeling good about using the colors. I'm like, let me give it a try. And I really do like looking at red, even though it's difficult. Like it's difficult for me to like work with the cool tone, and something about that in my brain. It's hard for me to get the colors right when I'm mixing them. But I love vermilion. That's probably like my most favorite shade of red. And I really like warm reds and oranges. So that's why I keep doing tomatoes. Long story short, even though they frustrate me, you got to do stuff that's frustrating. Something else that I've been thinking about a lot, and as I've been watching more oil painting videos and tutorials and trying to pick up as much knowledge as I can, is that I don't think I'm using enough paint. I think I'm being apprehensive with how much paint I'm using, and what I gather is that you got to stop caring about that, and you have to just like use a lot of paint, or not too much. But the reason is not because I'm trying to be cheap with using the paints. I don't mind using them at all. It's because I know that you're supposed to start with a light layer, and then you have to layer it up. And because I know I'm not like super practiced in the oil paints, I want to give myself a lot of space to be able to make mistakes. And I know if I use too much paint that I'm not going to be able to move it around properly. So that's what's going in my head when I'm not using enough. It's because I'm trying to leave space for mistakes. But I see that some people just scrape it off and it's fine. But then you kind of just have to like restart all the layers and stuff. So that's the reason why. So if it's frustrating when you see me using not enough, sorry, but I have come to that realization now. And since this video, I've been like thinking about that a lot, and I'm going to use more. And I feel a lot more confident after doing this study of fruits and veggies as well. So keep that in mind. Just something I was thinking about. And if you're kind of thinking about it too, something to consider, Also, I know that if you don't use enough paint, or you're not like layering it a little heavier, maybe handed than I should be doing, I think that it would go a lot easier. Like, I think I would have a bit of a better time. I think I'm good enough now at applying the paint that I can kind of keep the colors separate. And I'm just like learning all of this stuff. And I also learned that you kind of really have to start dark and then layer up to light, which I love doing. That's my favorite way of working. So like with painting. So that's great. So I'm just learning so many things, and it's just so much fun is what I'm saying. But the paint will move better when you have more paint on it too. So I know that this is sort of stopping me from getting where I need to go by this apprehension of using enough paint. And so I'm going to nip that in the bud and not do that anymore. And it's going to feel even better when I paint now. So for this last one, I'm taking my own onion, my very own onion that I found in my domicile. And I'm going to take a still life photo of it. I don't know how to do photography stuff, but I was looking for a reference of a red onion for so long. I really, really wanted to do a red onion because I felt like the color was going to go really well on the page with all of the other stuff that was already going on there. I didn't really have something that was pinky purple. So I thought that would look cool. So I was determined to get a red onion, but I just couldn't find one that was inspiring me at all. And then lo and behold, I look right over to my little kitchen and I see the perfect red onion right there. And I was like, why don't I just? So feel free to use this image as much as you want. Free from me, guilt-free. Use it for whatever you want. I don't care. But that got me thinking. Also, sorry that this little section here is blurry. I forgot to refocus the camera, which I never, ever forget to do. That was weird, but sometimes I do. Sorry. But yeah, it got me thinking that I want to take a lot more of my own still life photos. I realized that it's actually not that hard to do. Obviously, not as a still life photographer. Those are, that's a different level. But just for me to take a reference photo, I don't think that's that hard for me because I know what I'm looking for. And I know for sure that it's not a AI image, which makes me feel great. So there's that. Because Pinterest is getting really tricky now. And maybe if I take a bunch, I figure then we can all use them. And that could be really good. If I'm good at it, or I might not be good at it. We don't know yet. it's just like makes me feel better when I took it, and then I can get the perfect image. And so I've started like looking for things and going to flea markets and trying to find little items and stuff I want to take photos of, and just quick little photos because I can do most of the work with the painting, but I just want to get like it's sometimes it's like, oh, I wish this shadow was perfect. Oh, I wish this was like a little bit more high contrast. I wish I could find the perfect photo of this or that. And it's really just a matter of going to the grocery store and picking up a fruit that you're going to eat later anyways, but just get like a nice looking one. So that's what I've been doing recently, and that is very fun, and it also makes trips to the grocery store a lot more fun. Obviously, it's not perfect. You can't do it with everything, but I can definitely do it with some stuff. So that's what I'm kind of thinking of going forward. So even though, by the way, this red onion gave me such a hard time, I just like was going back and forth because I was so excited about the whole taking my own picture thing that I was like, this is going to be so perfect. And I felt like it looked really good on the first day. And then I just, same thing like the peach, I kept noodling around with it. I didn't stop. And then I was like seeing too many details and I couldn't stop my eyes from looking at them. And I really like this part. I just wish that I stopped a little earlier and left it with less detail. Again, just find what's important, bring those things out, blend the rest into the back, have fun with it. That's my goals. Use more paint. Also, I went so crazy with the backgrounds on this, but like part of it was that I wanted to blend with the backgrounds. And again, it's just a study. I'm not really caring how it looks too much, as more just like think of it as just a quarter of the page. And I was like, I'll just kind of blend the backgrounds in together. So it's just like this big mess back there. But I thought it was kind of funny. So I know it doesn't look perfect background wise, but for their own backgrounds, that's all I was kind of focusing on. And yeah, I did struggle quite a bit with this little, what onions, roots or whatever those things are. I didn't really know how to approach that with I didn't have like a tiny enough brush. Wasn't sure. So I don't know about that. I kind of like it before, like at the point that it is now. But of course, I went back the next day and had to mess around with it again. So I don't know. I don't know. But I did end up I was like, oh, maybe this is the perfect moment to use this palette knife. Maybe that's what you're supposed to use it for. So I got a little bit of paint on the corner there and kind of tried to mess around with that. So again, another experience. Okay, that's what we're going to chalk it up to. I am happy with all of the colors together though. Yeah, I was so mad. I was so mad by the end at that onion. So I cooked it and ate it. Not just the onion by itself. I cooked it with other food. I'm not just some psycho that just eats onions by themselves. But I was so mad at it that I would do that. Anyways, I liked all of the colors of all of the food together. I think that turned out pretty well. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I really like the stuff that I learned. And again, after I've thought about it, coming back to it later and looking at it again, I was like, okay, yeah, the more paint thing was like a revelation. Oh, and the taking my own reference photo thing. And I wouldn't have come to those realizations if I hadn't done this study, so yay. And I just put it on this little board because it's just a loose piece of canvas and I need a hard background so I can put it on my drawing rack. And this is the finished results. And I hope you had so much fun. I sure did. And I'll see you next time. Bye.